The revolutionary power of softness. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine a world where your vulnerability isn't a liability, but your greatest superpower, where your scars aren't something to hide, but badges that tell the story of your resilience, where your softness isn't weakness, but the very thing that makes you unstoppable. Sounds impossible, right? That's what I thought too, until I met Eubiunda Davies. When I first encountered Eubiunda, I expected our conversation to follow familiar contours. Instead, what unfolded was nothing short of revolutionary. Her insights didn't just shift my perspective, they completely dismantled and rebuilt how I understand strength, particularly for Black women navigating worlds that demand their hardness while punishing their humanity. Eubiunda Davies isn't just a thought leader, she's a paradigm shifter, a healer, a woman who has faced the inferno of life's harshest realities and emerged not hardened, but somehow more exquisitely human. Her work in helping women, especially Black women, reclaim their right to vulnerability has sparked movements across communities where softness was once considered a luxury none could afford. The titanium cape, she called it, that impossible armor we're told to wear. That exhausting performance of invulnerability that leaves us hollow inside. That weight we carry, believing it protects us when really it's slowly crushing us. But here's what Ubiunda taught me, what changed everything. There is another way, a softer way, a way that doesn't require us to fragment ourselves into acceptable pieces, a way that honors every dimension of who we are. The truth is, we've been sold a dangerous lie. The lie that says strength means never breaking, never bending, never showing the world who you really are. The lie that says vulnerability equals weakness. The lie that says your trauma is yours alone to bear, silently, stoically, until it consumes you from within. Today, I want to dismantle that lie, brick by brick, because what I've learned from Yubiunda and the remarkable women whose stories I'll share today is this: your full story, every messy, beautiful, complicated chapter, isn't something to hide. It's your most valuable asset. It's the very foundation of your authentic power. Consider Sabrina from the Hood Soft Life podcast. Growing up surrounded by trauma in environments where struggle was normalized, Sabrina internalized the narrative that softness wasn't an option. Survival meant toughness, period. End of story. When you grow up in certain neighborhoods, she told her listeners once, you learn early that softness gets mistaken for weakness, and weakness makes you a target. So you build walls, you harden, you wear your toughness like armor because sometimes it's the only thing standing between you and annihilation. But something remarkable happened when Sabrina reached her breaking point. Instead of doubling down on her armor, she did something radical. She embraced vulnerability as her strength. Today, I stay grounded and easily adapt to any situation, became her daily affirmation. Not today, I will be bulletproof, or today, I will power through, but grounded, adaptable, present. Through her podcast, Sabrina created something extraordinary, a space where Black women from similar backgrounds could imagine peace, not just survival, where they could see softness as their birthright, not a luxury reserved for others, where healing wasn't something that happened elsewhere to other people, but something tangible and possible for them too. This isn't just feel good talk, this is revolutionary. Because when we've been conditioned to believe that our value lies in our capacity to endure pain without complaint, to sacrifice endlessly without recognition, to be the backbone for everyone else while our own spine crumbles under the weight, choosing softness becomes an act of rebellion. Let me be clear about something. Softness isn't about being passive or diminishing yourself. It's not about shrinking, it's about expansion. It's not about being less, it's about being more fully yourself. Leanne Dolce understands this distinction perfectly. Through her Soft Girl Era podcast, Leanne hosts conversations with high achieving Black women who've rejected burnout culture without rejecting their ambitions. These women describe something many of us know intimately: the exhaustion of overworking themselves due to societal expectations placed on Black women to be strong at all costs. The way this perpetual performance of strength led them away from their authentic selves. One guest described it as wearing a mask so convincing I forgot my own face underneath. Another spoke about reaching a six-figure executive position only to realize she'd abandoned every part of herself that brought her joy along the way. I achieved everything society told me meant success, she said, and I felt nothing but hollow. But these women didn't abandon their dreams or lower their standards. Instead, they found a more sustainable path. They prioritized self care alongside ambition. They rebuilt careers, sometimes after relocations, divorces, or family caregiving responsibilities, by honoring their multifaceted identities instead of suppressing them. The result? Many listeners report feeling truly seen for the first time. Guests note increased confidence in blending softness with leadership rather than choosing one over the other. This is what Eubiunda means when she says, "You are multifaceted, own it." Black women can be passionate, raw, transparent, seductive, soft yet strong, all at once. There's power in this adaptability. You don't have to fit into anyone else's mold to lead or inspire. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but my reality is different. I can't afford softness. I have responsibilities. People depend on me. I hear you. And so does Kelly Allen Gray. Gray convenes groups where entrepreneurial Black women in Tarrant County discuss real challenges, including breaking generational patterns in safe spaces designed around openness rather than competition. These women often come from broken homes or carry invisible burdens that make entrepreneurship especially isolating. Many have few spaces where their stories can be shared honestly without judgment or pressure to perform perfectionism. What Gray understood, what Ubunda emphasizes, is that healing isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, especially for those carrying the heaviest loads. Gray's gatherings encourage something radical, pausing long enough to reflect on what needs healing before chasing new goals. In a culture that glorifies the hustle, that values productivity over personhood, this pause is revolutionary. One participant shared, "I came to these sessions thinking I needed business strategies. I left realizing I needed to heal my relationship with success first. I was chasing achievements to prove my worth to a father who left when I was 3. Once I recognized that pattern, I could build a business from a place of wholeness, not wound." Attendees leave these sessions more connected with actionable insights about building businesses rooted in authenticity instead of inherited struggle narratives. Some credit these gatherings with helping them break cycles within both work and family spheres. By modeling vulnerability as leadership, these sessions create ripple effects throughout entire communities. This brings me to one of Ubiunda's most powerful insights. Healing is ongoing and powerful. Breaking generational habits, recovering from pain, and overcoming near death experiences are not just personal victories, they ripple out to uplift families and communities. Healing is both an act of self love and collective empowerment. When you heal, you don't heal alone. You heal backward through your ancestry and forward through generations yet unborn. I want to pause here and acknowledge something important. This work isn't easy. Vulnerability feels dangerous because for many of us, it has been. Softness feels like exposure because we've learned that our defenses keep us safe. But what if those very defenses are now the walls of our own prison? What if the armor that once protected you is now suffocating you? What if your strength, your real strength, isn't in never breaking, but in how beautifully you put yourself back together? This is what Eubiunda calls embracing your full story. Every chapter, whether it's starting a business, healing from trauma, navigating marriage and divorce, or being a pillar in your family, is valuable. Your journey is worthy of respect and celebration when shared authentically and vulnerably. The women in these stories didn't diminish their struggles or sanitize their experiences. They didn't present curated versions of themselves. They showed up fully, messy, magnificent, and multidimensional. And something magical happened when they did. Others felt permission to do the same. This is the paradox at the heart of vulnerability. What feels like exposure becomes connection. What feels like weakness becomes strength. What feels like risk becomes reward. I'm reminded of something Eubiunda said that stopped me in my tracks. A soft Black woman is a dangerous thing to underestimate. Think about that for a moment. Dangerous. Not because she's aggressive or combative, but because she's whole, because she refuses fragmentation, because she knows her worth isn't in her utility to others, but in her inherent dignity as a human being. So, where do we go from here? I believe we stand at a crossroads. We can continue down the path of performative strength, of fragmentation, of exhaustion, or we can choose revolution. We can choose to reclaim our wholeness, to embrace our softness as our superpower. I challenge you to leave here today and do something that terrifies you. Choose one area where you've been hiding your true self out of fear or obligation. Commit to sharing even a small piece, whether it's telling your story honestly, asking for help instead of always giving it, or taking one bold step toward reclaiming a dream you've abandoned. Remember that your softness is not weakness, it is revolutionary strength when paired with truthfulness about your journey. The world doesn't need more perfect people, it needs more whole people. People brave enough to show their scars, people honest enough to speak their truth, people soft enough to remain open to connection in a world that rewards closure. As Eubiunda Davis has shown us, when we drop the titanium cape and step into our full, complex humanity, we don't become less powerful, we become unstoppable. Because there is nothing more revolutionary, nothing more world changing than a person who has reconciled all the parts of themselves and shows up anyway, vulnerable and whole. So today I invite you, no, I dare you to start your own soft revolution, to reclaim every part of yourself you've hidden away, to honor your complexity, to wear your softness not as shame, but as the crown it truly is. Because when enough of us choose this path, we won't just change our own lives, we'll change the world. Thank you.